Welcome everyone to our channel. Now I'm going to talk about the overlooked voter who could decide the 2020 race. The overlooked voters who could decide the 2020 race. Latino voters in California, Texas and around the country are interested in picking someone who can beat President Trump, so they don't no longer agree on who that is. Los Angeles, Latino voters are worried to pick the Democratic nominee. Long over by the political establishment and dismissed as a sleeping giant for demographic. Latino voters rely heavily at his good. Millions of Latinos are expected to go to the polls on Tuesday in key states like Colorado, Virginia, North Carolina, and more significantly, in Texas and California. One analysis estimates that only one-third of the 643 degrees of forward in those whose state will be determined by Latino voters. Latinos are expected to make up the largest non-white ethnic voting bloc in 2020. Around the country, Latino Democrats are seeking the candidate who is best poised to take on President Trump, who many believe has placed a target on their roles back in his anti-immigrant rhetoric. They voted, far from a monolith but united on some key issues. Who cast their ballots in Texas exactly 7 months after the deadliest anti-Latino attack in modern American history took place in El Paso. It's hard to be the Latino right now, says Christian Arana, the policies director for the Latino Community Foundation, a philanthropic group based in California. There are so many of us who feel we have to constantly to be on watch for something terrible. People are channeling their anger into voting in a way we have not seen historically. Polls has consistently shown that the Latino voters in Texas and California list healthcare, economic inequality, and immigration as their top issues. But the upcoming primaries are likely to show those splits and contradictions among the group. Interviews with dozens of Latino voters in El Paso and Los Angeles in recent days show that though Mr. Sanders has built up a loyal base among Latinos, particularly younger and working-class voters, there are many lifelong Democrats who are still searching for a moderate alternative. It's a historic moment, and this historic disappointment because that again we are the most underrepresented community from the establishment and the big donor and that still in every election. The Latino voting excitement keeps growing, said Hector Sanchez Baba, the executive director of Mi Familia Voter, with the Latino voters now tracked throughout the country. In 2018, Latino voters have flipped several congressional districts to the Democrats. Now, he said, it's a time Latino groups are pressing to get more promise from candidates on what they will do on healthcare, education, and immigration. Democratic candidates have made more of an effort in recent weeks to call Latino voters, recognizing the decisive role they could play on Super Tuesday. No other candidate has put more efforts into courting Latinos than Senator Bernie Sanders, who had made it clear that he is counting on Latinos as a kind of fireworks on Tuesday, nationally and particularly in California. So far, recent surveys seem to reflect that effort. Mr. Sanders has a significant lead among into Latino voters in both Texas and California, ahead of his rival by double digits. We've lived in fear for our family for the last 3 years, said Senator Espino, a 26-year-old sports merchandising buyer from Long Beach, California, who attended the rally for Mr. Sanders in Los Angeles Sunday. Mr. Espino said health care was the most important issue for her, but added that she has several family members who are undocumented immigrants. She said several of her family members had become citizens in the last 2 years and plan to cast their first ballot Tuesday, choosing Mr. Sanders. We've never had a candidate for president who listened to us like this, who we are really excited about, seeming to recognize the need for more an effort targeting the Latino community. So several Biden held rallies in Texas leading up to Super Tuesday, and touted the endorsement of Congresswoman Veronica Escobar of El Paso. And on Saturday, For former Latino cabinet secretaries from the Clinton and Obama administration published a letter in their opinion. Los Angeles' largest Spanish language newspaper, urging their Latino brothers and sisters to vote for Mr. Biden, arguing that they know Joe and that he is running to restore the American dream. Former New York City Mayor Michael R. Bloomberg had poured in a record-breaking amount of money into Spanish language universities in California and Texas. Mr. Bloomberg's campaigns have focused particularly on finding local endorsement from heavily national regions and filtering those later in garner more my advertisement. Like Mr. Sanders' campaigns, Mr. Bloomberg has stolen field office in heavily national regions that have long been ignored in presidential elections, such as the Central Valley and the Inland Empire in California. The campaigns had also set millions of campaigns merely the Hispanic voters in both states. What should happen was they avoided talking about Latinos until Florida, said Mayor Marcias, the executive director of Latino Voters Fund. We tried to get more Latino elected and backed Mr. Biden last month. Now we are seeing that there is no path to victory without speaking holistically to them. In some ways, California Latinos began their steady march to political power after Proposition 187, an anti-immigrant ballot initiative approved by voters in 1994. Dozens of current Latino elected officials in the state became engaged in activism during the protest against the measure, which was eventually struck down by the courts. And many Californians believe that Texas Latinos are in the midst of a similar political transformation. It has now been nearly 7 months since the shooting of an El Paso Walmart. The white 21-year-old gunman, Patrick Cruz, turned a Saturday morning in the Pinotional, majority Hispanic border city into a sign of horror. He killed 22 people and wounded nearly 2,000 others. Most of the killed or injured were either Mexican or Mexican Americans. Minutes before shooting, the gunman had posted an anti-immigrant manifesto online, declaring that the attack was in response to Hispanic invasion of Texas. He wrote that he feared that the Hispanic population in Texas would make a democratic strong that would win nearly every presidential election. For 27-year-old Lisa Tamayo, the shooting last year was personal. It was her neighborhood Walmart, a place to shop and met her family from across the border. One of her mother friends was killed in the attack, Maria Angunia Lagarreta Rotter, 58, from the Mexican state of Chihuahua. Miss Tamayo called her tia, Spanish for aunt, although they were not related. But for Miss Tamayo, the attack has been worse to the political. She is running for public office for the first time in her life, pushing back by the Walmart shooting and the rhetoric from President Trump and state Republican leader that she believes fueled the anti-Latino hatred for the gunman. Ms. Tamayo is vying to become a Democratic landmark in the state House of Representatives and Representative House, the district that includes the Walmart. She announced her candidacy 8 weeks after the shooting, standing with relatives and supporters in front of the Memorial Reading, El Paso Strong. Ms. Tamayo, who is on the Democratic primary ballot in El Paso on Tuesday and who voted for Mr. Warren for president, said that in knocking on doors and her campaigns, she has seen firsthand a new level of engagement of Hispanic voters. We've been knocking on doors for more than 3 months, and I keep hearing that they want to vote in this election, she said. They really want to vote in this election because they feel like we forgot to get Trump out of office. Instead of saying my vote doesn't matter, I think people are now more willing to show up and more willing to vote because of that. Around El Paso, many people did raise similar reasons for voting, Mr. Trump's rhetoric and the shooting last summer, but they came to different conclusions about their preferred candidates. Anna Casas, 33, a single mother and home-health aide in El Paso, voted for the first time in her life last week. Her vote went to Mr. Sanders and she had registered to vote last year about 3 months after the attack at the Walmart, where she would often shop with her 3 sons. What about if we were there and that happened? She said. It did open my eyes. It pushed me to vote. Mr. Casa said it was clear to her that Mr. Trump would feel the sort of hatred of Hispanic. I'm trying to put other people to vote because they think that their vote doesn't matter, she said. But it actually does. I used to think that way, honestly, until Trump became president. Perhaps no one exactly felt the spirit of Latino Democratic votes in Texas heading into Super Tuesday better than the Bacasa family. Last Wednesday, Miguel Bacasa, 66, a retired middle school history teacher, walked slowly to an early voting site at a recreation center in the city Mission Valley neighborhood. A little more than 2 miles from the scene of the Walmart shooting, till the crane became his knee problem as his wife, Lucina, 65, a retired special education teacher assistant, walked alongside him just as slowly. They have been married for 41 years. They were making their way constantly to vote, but they were eager for political revolution. They got back to their car wearing a vote sticker. Both said they had supported Mr. Sanders. I feel strongly that he's more radical than anything else, Mr. Bacasa said for Mr. Sanders. Their 3 sons will not with them, but their parents know exactly how they will vote. One of their sons planned on voting for Mr. Sanders, one is undecided and also will vote for Mr. Trump. A sign of the Hispanic Republican support for the president that exists in the conservative state like Texas. I hope you like this and just like and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching and see you later in the next video.